Comic Book Savant, episode 412. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode, we're going to take a deep dive and potentially final dive into the DC Universe online streaming service, at least for the current time being. I've done a few episodes between the podcast as well as the YouTube channel talking about different aspects of the DC Universe online service during the first 4 or 5 months of the service existence. This is kind of my final review, referendum, amendment, or whatever to the different thoughts that I've had going through the service through the past few months. But before we get into all that, as always, I'd like to give a shout out to my co-host on the Spinner Rack Bros podcast, which is Heath Holland. He does a YouTube channel, Serial at Midnight. He also does a website, serialatmidnight.com. I wanted to give him a special shout out in this episode, and I'm going to be doing more of this going forward, where I spotlight different people that I collaborate with and that I'm friends with that are also in the space to give them kind of spotlight. If you guys enjoy what we do here on Spinner Rack Bros, you know I talk about my Patreon and you guys contributing, and you guys have done a great job. And I appreciate everything you guys do. Well, Heath has been in a similar position. He's, had a hard time maintaining all the costs associated with his projects. He recently launched the Patreon with some really great incentives. They're not break the bank. He actually helped me kind of restructure my Patreon offerings to bring them kind of more in line, because I kind of was flying blind on, the different things to offer. So if you have a moment, check out his YouTube channel, which is Serial at Midnight. And you can also check out the website as well, which is serialatmidnight.com. I'll have links to everything's on the website. If need be, I will also put links to the YouTube channel and the website on the posting for this episode, so you should have those as well. Definitely, if you have a moment, please check out the content, if you haven't, that he does outside of this. He doesn't just do comic books. This is kind of like when we do Spinner Rack Bros, we focus on comic book stuff. He does things of collecting physical media. He talks about comics sometimes. He talks about movies, music. He does different vlogs when he goes on. He does different tours and road trips and things of that nature. Is very well-rounded and eclectic, kind of like Heath is. So I love him. He's my brother from another mother. I just wanted to give time to spotlight the great things he's doing over there at Serial at Midnight, and to give him a shout out and bring you guys aware. If you only know him from Spinner Rack Bros, please check out his other content that he creates. And if you can, just if you can support me, drop $1 or $2 over his way. He has some great incentives for if you do become a Patreon exclusive content. You can get similar to different things that I offer, different tiers and things of that nature. So please go forth and support. He's a part of the Comic Book Savant family, and I would greatly appreciate it. With that out of the way, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsor for this episode, and every episode is InStockTrades.com. If you're looking for collected editions, omnibuses, Marvel Masterworks, any type of manga, oversized issue editions like Action Comics 1000. Definitely they're your place to go to, InStockTrades.com. They have discounts from 35%, 42% up to 50% off with their deals of the week, which they have listed on the homepage. I think they update it every Tuesday afternoon with books they spotlight up to 50% off. If you are a U.S.-based customer and you place an order $50 or more, you get free shipping within the U.S. If you happen to be outside of the U.S., you don't get the extra bonus, but you still get great savings, and they have some of the most competitive international shipping rates around. I have other fellow podcasters and YouTubers that live in other countries that speak highly of, their delivery and their shipping costs. So definitely is worth something checking out if you're even outside of the U.S. To check out InStockTrades.com to get some great savings on some collected editions. So if you haven't already checked them out, if you have, let them know you heard about them here first on the Comic Book Savant podcast. And now let's jump into the meat of the episode. I went back and forth about the DC Universe service. I was really stoked about it. And with new revelations with certain choices that DC Comics have made. We talked about it a little bit in the last episode of Spinner Rack Bros, where DC has decided to add, they finally decided to add their comics to Comixology Unlimited, which I'm already subscribed to. And, you know, one of the biggest issues that I mentioned before of the scenario of, them drip feeding content, which was one of my biggest, you know, problems with the service. I've enjoyed Titans, but again, it wasn't much other original content out there to make the service really worth it. I stuck with it. I even said in one of my videos on YouTube that I was looking to subscribe to do the annual subscription because I enjoy Titans. I was looking forward to Doom Patrol, which is still, I think it's getting ready to launch in the next week or two. But ultimately, I came to the decision the past week. It was coming up time for me to renew because I hadn't did the annual yet, the annual subscription, so I was still doing the monthly. Well, it was weird. I would have done it by now, but I spent the past 2 months trying to figure out it was no way where you could just eat, which is very weird, which is something they definitely need to fix in the service. It was no way, because I had an issue with my debit card and I had to get a new one, and there was no way to update the billing information on your account settings in the DC Universe app, online, website, app, anywhere. I couldn't update it. So that was a problem. And you could not change, it was no option to change your subscription at all within the service, which just seems super weird. And I had never noticed it from the time I had, signed up for it, that you can't go and edit your billing information or your subscription type at any given point. I'm assuming like you just have to flat out cancel it, then sign back, re-sign up with the updated information, which makes no sense whatsoever, especially when they're begging so hard in most of their advertising to get people to sign up for the service. You wouldn't want people that want to be with the service have to cancel it to restart it, because then they might be like, why bother? And that was kind of the crossroads where I was at. Was like, okay, I'm going to have to cancel anyway just to, just to re-sign up. And right when this was going on, when I was contemplating this, they made the announcement out of nowhere that their comics now are going to be on Comixology Unlimited. Now, DC Universe is still a great option for most people. For me, one of the cons that I said about the service was, the pricing. I felt like it was a little bit too expensive for what it offered at this point. Now, it might be valid down the road. Now, I didn't like how comics were presented on there, because they have a rotating curated list that they had time limits on. Read this now, everything specifically related to different content they might have coming out on different medium, be it TV, the movie theater. Aquaman came out, they spotlighted Aquaman. Titans came out on the service, they had a lot of Titans books on there. When the service launched, it was Batman Day. So for that first month, it was very heavy Batman content. Certain things rotated out, newer things rotated in. It was a constant thing that you had to worry about. And I just think as a comics fan and as a comics reader, I don't want to be dictated to when I want to read the stories that I want to read. And that in light a problem for me. So when they made the announcement, I'm already paying $5.99 a month for Comixology Unlimited. Now, I was worried. What my contemplation was like, okay, I'm paying. I think if you were doing the monthly subscription, I think DC Universe's for me was $7.99 with tax. It was like $8.50. I already pay $5.99, $6.50 essentially after tax for Comixology Unlimited. I thought Comixology Unlimited, after they got the feather in their cap of having DC, their prices might go up. But I looked at the press release and they were like, no, don't worry about your prices increasing. Your price is not going to increase for the service. So I'm still paying the same amount. I get Marvel, I get DC now, Vertigo, because they kind of, they have DC and Vertigo, Image, Valiant, Dark Horse, IDW, and a lot of other independent publishers, all for $6.50 a month. Again, I'm balling on a budget, and I'm trying to save as much money as possible. And creating this podcast, getting content where I can save money, I'm going to save money. So that's what it came down to, where it was like, okay, well, now that they're over there and I'm already paying for that service, the comic aspect of it, I kind of justified, well, okay, at least you get comics as well as video, and you get the movies. Well, this is where things start breaking down, where I felt like I was wasting my money. I don't read comics through that service. I felt like it was a value-added thing because it wasn't just a streaming media as far as TV and movies. You got comics, too. I don't need it for comics anymore. Okay, the content, they're drip-feeding it. I have to sit on a streaming platform where Netflix have set the example for many years. They're the grandfather of this whole streaming culture that we're in now. You can binge anything on Netflix. Day when it comes out, you can stream the whole series. That's what I'm accustomed to. That's what I think in my mind when I think of I am paying for a streaming service. I enjoyed Titans enough where waiting week for week was okay because it was something new. It wasn't something I had to press about, and I watched it it would come out on Friday. I would watch it like during the weekend or the following Monday or whatever. I watched it at my leisure. It was like, okay. They did this thing where Young Justice Season 3, where it was like they did a month of 3 episodes per week. And I mean, I guess that's cool, but then it takes a hiatus. It doesn't come back till June. Doom Patrol is going to come out in the interim. That's going to be drip fed out episode per week. And I'm just like, it's just frustrating because you're paying, a premium. I've had Netflix for like I've had Netflix since the 90s, in all its iterations of, they mail you the DVDs and till it converted to streaming to throughout. I only pay at this point, after being signed up with this service for almost 20 years, almost at this point, because I think I signed up originally for Netflix in 98, 99-ish, something like that. We're looking, and it's 2019 now. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I only pay like $11 a month for my Netflix service, I think, at this point. I'm already paying like $8.50 for this, and I don't have nearly the catalog I have on Netflix. Even though it's content that I enjoy and I want to see the service succeed, it just costs too much. And like I said, I think they got the pricing all wrong. And I don't know if they can, as a company, they need to consider this. I don't know if Warner Brothers or DC Comics proper should step the pricing back. I think it's just way too much for what they're offering at this point. Maybe down the road they can get back up to that price point, but like I said, the service should have been, in my opinion, $4.99, no higher than $5.99. I think at this point, for what the lack of content that they have on there at this point, the service should be $4.99 a month. Now, for $4.99 a month to support it and to have access to what they are offering, I think that's fair. Because it's not as robust as they try to make it out to seem. They use a lot of smoke and mirrors and within the service, to kind of make it look more than what it is. But that drip feeding of content, the back catalog, a lot of the back catalog, you care about it, you already own it. You know what I mean? Like, I look at the animated movies. Like, the movies, they keep about 28 movies between live action and the animated movies, and they kind of rotate out the animated movies. The staples of the Tim Burton, Batman movies are on there. The original Christopher Reeves, they are pretty much been mainstays on the service. The animated movies, they kind of shifted out. Now, one thing they promised that this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I wanted to do a review of The Reign of the Superman. One of the things that they promised was that their upcoming as being this is the ultimate DC Comics fan service. That's their tagline. They said one of the perks or one of the pluses for signing up for this service where you would immediately have access to new animated film releases on the service. Now, they never specified. So when I think of immediate release, I think of, okay, it comes out digitally. Boom, it's going to be on the service because that's a plus. That's a value added proposition, especially for me because I've reviewed like pretty much 85% of the DC animated movies over the past decade or more. They've been doing these home releases. So, for me, it definitely is a value add because it saves me for having to go right out and buy them immediately or kind of wait for them to go on sale and buy them and then review them. I could already have access to them. If I really like them, I still would buy them because I collect those movies. But it wasn't there. So I was like, okay, if I want to go ahead and do a review right away, I have to pay, I don't buy physical media, and it's not out physical media now. So if I want to do a review right now digitally, I have to pay $20 to do it, and I'm not paying $20 for any movie. I ball on a budget. Like I tell you guys, I don't have a lot of money. Don't have a lot of extra money like that just to spend on one thing like that. I try to if I got $20, I'm trying to buy. Try to get as much bang for my buck. I think we all do in that aspect. So I'm not going to do that. So that was like, okay, well, even that you promised. I mean, I guess you can get really, if you read the fine print, they might be like, well, when it goes for rent or when the physical, release comes out, then it's available. They never specified that is true. But how they try to make it seem is like when these new releases come out, they'll be on DC Universe streaming service first. Boom. Okay, well, I'm looking for it. It's not there. It just further muddies the water and all the perks and bonuses and how it doesn't live up to the price tag. If I'm paying that much a month, I want those as soon as it's made available digitally, put it on the service. Even if you rotate it out later, fine, do it. But at least in that opening window, it needs to be on the service. Even if it's just for the first couple of weeks, then when it goes to sale for physical media, you take it off and then bring it back later. You feel like you have that exclusive access to that content that others don't have by being a member of the service. That's what you should get for being signed up for the ultimate DC Comics fan experience. That's a perk I believe you should get and how you should do that. But that's not what it is. So it just further muddied the situation where I felt like I wasn't getting value for my dollar. And like I said, the ultimate nail in the coffin was that, coupled with now for no additional cost to me, I can I can keep my Comixology Unlimited, and I'm getting the bonus of DC Comics right off the top. And like I said, in the Spinner Rack Bros episode, they dropped some, a big amount of content on that day one, and they've been adding content since to that offering. So again, it's not costing me anything extra, and I can take that, $8.50 a month and put toward buying more comics or comic book movies that I can add to content to the podcast, which is most important to me, making my, my dollar stretch to, comics that I want to read, that I want to review for you guys, new books I want to pick up, things of that nature, instead of using it on a service that I wasn't watching movies on there because most of them that they had available, I own, I own them. So that's not a bonus. The shows, I enjoyed Titans a lot, and I spoke on that. I enjoyed, I didn't see the very last 3 episodes because, when I canceled the service, it was right when the weekend was coming and the new episodes were coming out. So I saw 9 of the 12 episodes of Young Justice that they came out with so far. But I'll catch it later. I don't know if that stuff will rotate off to Netflix. I thought I saw something online where they said eventually those shows will go on to Netflix. I have Netflix. I can catch it there. But it just wasn't worth the continued bloated cost for just to say I had it. You know what I mean? And I'm all about being practical, and it just it just wasn't adding up in the end. Not saying that it's not a good option for other people, just for me in the limited budget I have to, to do everything with when it comes to creating content, buying comics, buying comic book, like the different stuff that I do and I review. I felt like that money was being wasted. And if, like through the Patreon and stuff like that, and you guys supporting me, I'm not going to waste your money. I'm not going to waste my money, and I'm not going to waste your money on a service that's like, for me, not offering value where I can get something out of it that I can produce good content for you guys. So that ultimately came to my decision. I still think it's a great service if you don't own those movies, if you really, really want to watch those shows, which I was surprised by Titans. It wasn't the best thing because it wasn't super comics accurate, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I had fun with it. The Young Justice was really good. I really look forward to seeing the rest of that when I get a chance. But again, I'm only missing 3 episodes, and then it does not come back out till June, which, if they make some changes or lower the price, I might be signed right back up for DC Universe. But at some point, I feel like the service is struggling. And like we discussed in the Spinnerack Bros episode, I think this whole finally, after all these years that people have asked them repeatedly about, why aren't you, partnering with Comixology? Why aren't you offering books through there? As far as the Comixology Unlimited service, and they just stood pat and they had this service, and it just lends to me that the DC Universe is not as successful as they thought it was going to be, and this is kind of them appeasing the fans by doing, a sidestep in a way. And I think they're going to have to bite the bullet at some point and reduce the price for the service. If they truly want it to be successful till they build up a true back catalog, they're going to need to drop the price. And once they start getting established, they can start raising the price back to something reasonable. But I think the $7.99 might not be the move for them at this point, because they just don't have enough content, and how they have everything planned out. They're going to be drip feeding the rest of the content that's going to be hitting the platform for the rest of the year. They have a roadmap out, and it's going to be dripping along weekly releases. And I'm sorry, for a streaming service, I want to binge my content, period. I don't want to have it drip fed to me. That's why I watch free public television for and watch commercials. I don't do that for a service I'm paying extra money out of my pocket for, to have it drip feed to me week to week, take a hiatus, come back. That's the most frustrating part. That's why right now I'm not reviewing a lot of like the CW and all that shows. It's very frustrating as a content creator, where you get into a rhythm of a show. You're watching it week in, week out, especially like with the CW shows. Sometimes they're interconnected. So like literally when I was watching and reviewing those shows, I watched them as they were released just in case it was any crossover. So I literally watched them in order, so any adjoining plot lines or anything like that. So I did not miss anything. And then it'll be like a hiatus. One comes back before the other. You get all out of sync, and it just made it hard to cover it and then still enjoy it at the same time. And where, with the Punisher review, season 2 Punisher review is going to be coming up next episode. Where I could just sit down over a 2 to 3 day period, watch the whole series. I can take notes while I'm watching it and give you clear, concise thoughts and enjoy it for what it is. I'm not pressured to rush to do it. I can do it at my leisure, over 2, 3, 4, 5, however long sittings, and take it in and enjoy it, and not be like, it's a cliffhanger, I gotta wait, a week. That's so frustrating. For me personally, it might not bother others as much, but I'm gotten to the point now, maybe because I'm getting old and surly, because I'm 43, which is not that old, I know. But my patience for that is just waning. I just want to get it over with and go to the next thing. I'm a completionist in that way, and I have OCD in that way. I want to get it done, go to the next thing. This is complete, cool, to the next thing. Complete, to the next thing. Awesome. But that's all I really have to say about the DC Universe service. Like I said, I think it's still a great service for those that, if you don't own a lot of the movies or the animated movies or the old TV shows. Like I said, they do have the remastered episodes of, Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, Teen Titans, Young Justice. It's a lot of good content on there if you don't already own it. to have access to it. But again, I just still think the deterrent for most people and why they're having a hard time getting subscribers is that price point matched with the content that's available. Because a lot of that content has been available for a while. You know, a lot of those movies, like right before the service launched, I bought a ton of the movies digitally. The animated movies especially, they had like a huge sale, and I bought a lot of those movies for like $5 a pop. You know, like the few that I didn't already own, I was able to fill in my gaps. And it was weird because I thought it would be more the newer movies that they would spotlight on the service, but it was a lot of older ones that I had just bought. So I was like, again, you've negated your own service already. Like, there's a lot of moves that DC Comics has made in relation to this service. It's just been butt backwards, you know what I mean? Which I just truly can't understand, but it's neither here nor there. I still think the service has potential with a little tweaking. I know a lot of you guys, based on my recommendation, checked out the service and really enjoy the service, continue to enjoy the service. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It just, for me, it was a waste of money for me personally. And that's the only thing I can base this conversation, this side of this discussion on, is based on what I needed the service to offer me to make it a value proposition, and that it's not delivering on that, and it was just a wasted expense that I could do without. So I did without it. But I like having these conversations with you guys. I wanted to come back and address it because, again, I was so high on the service, which, again, I still am. I still think it just needs some slight tweaking to it. Thank you guys for all your support, especially the Patreons. You know, you guys have been wonderful. You guys have, you know, done so much to help keep the podcast afloat and you know, doing more things. More bonuses are being added if you haven't checked recently. Offering, you know, even more stuff on the Patreon side at the different tiers. So if you haven't checked out Patreon, please do so. Again, it's if you can. I understand everyone cannot you know, support the show financially. If you can, like I said, I try to make it value added and give you something for your support of the show. Again, you can start as little as $1, and again, it goes up different tiers. Nothing more than $8 a month. So if you are, or $10 a month, I think is the highest tier. If you contribute, it's different tiers of stuff you can get and rewards you can get in relation and exclusive content as being a Patreon. So definitely check it out. It's patreon.com/comic book savant. Again, don't forget to check out Heath's Patreon campaign as well. Patreon should be patreon.com/serial midnight or serial at midnight. I got to double check that. But all the links will be down in the post for this episode for sure. As always, you can follow me on social media at Comic Book Savant on Twitter and on Instagram. Check out the site. I'm still working on some stuff behind the scenes. The merch store is still there. Click on support. If you go down to the bottom of the support page, you'll see a link to the store. I think I added a coffee mug, some stickers, the hoodie, the 2 t-shirt designs. More will be coming. I've been focusing on just getting ahead on content right now in the new year and doing better about scheduling. Since I'm a one-man operation, I'm trying to manage the time better so I can do updates to the website, merchandise, social media, content creation, content editing, posting, all that good stuff. It's coming along. And, you know, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the content, working real hard on it. You guys have really, coming off the year we had last year, I'm just like, super, not that I've never been into what I'm doing. It's just like you guys have just, I don't know, I'm so energized and feel so excited about this year. I think this is going to be the biggest year for Comic Book Savant ever. The YouTube channel's coming along. Yo, if you haven't gone to YouTube, hit up the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Comic Book Savant. I'm just a few subscribers away from 200. I think my ultimate mission, I'm going to aim big. And it might be ludicrous at this point, but I feel with your guys' help, we can get it. I want to get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of 2019. It took, the past year and a half or almost 2 years on YouTube. I think I found my footing as a content creator, as a podcaster, as well as a video creator. And I think with your guys' help, this is hashtag road to 1,000. subscribers on YouTube. Let's do it. If you listen to this podcast and you haven't gone to the YouTube channel, go subscribe, click on the bell notification so you know when new content drops on there. I'm going hard this year, y'all. Like, this is what I'm doing. I want to put Comic Book Savant on the map. I need your help. This is real. I'm not playing any games. I haven't been, but I really, from the feedback you guys given me, I know what our community is, and I know this is great content. Now we need to let the world know, and I need your help to do it. I can't do it alone. So let's do it. Let's get it to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Let's grow the podcast audience even more. Like I said, I'm geeked, so I need you guys to be just as geeked as I am. That's all I have for this episode. I'll see you guys back next week for another episode of Comic Book Savant. We're going to be hitting up Punisher Season 2. Spoilers, that'll be the podcast. Non-spoiler review of Punisher Season 2 will be on the YouTube channel next week, the same time that the podcast drops. So be on the lookout for that. That's coming right around the corner. I'll see you guys then. You have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.